Today we'll be changing the front disc brakes on this 2010 Honda Civic. We'll start by lifting the car. Next we'll remove the tire. This tire is aftermarket, so it has a key to it. If your tire is aftermarket, you probably need a key as well. Tire off, you can now remove the brake caliper. This is where the 12mm wrench will be needed. Keep in mind that if you drove your car less than an hour ago, these brakes are probably going to be very, very hot. So be aware of that. You may need to have a rag ready to be able to carry them and move them around. So they should just slide right out. Just put them off to the side for now. Try your hardest to not kink the brake lines. Your brake pads will be right here. They should just jiggle right out. The bracket bolts are going to be 17mm. And your bracket should come right out. With the bracket out of the way, it should be easy to take off the disc now. This Honda has had plenty of services that I guess the last service tech lost these screws that hold in the disc itself. Now this one's going to be easy to take out because it's missing those, but in previous times that I've done this job, these screws are very, very difficult to take out. So you probably need something like WD-40. Honda has made really easy for us is they put these threaded holes. That's for the technicians or the mechanics to put a screw with this thread size in there and turn it, and what that does is it pops out the disc to make it really easy for you. But if you don't have that, you can actually use a hammer to break the disc off the hub. Unfortunately, I do not have a screw that fits in there, so I am going to have to hammer it out. Just when you hammer the disc assembly, you want to be very careful not to hit the threads, because then you won't be able to put the lug nuts in. Once both of the discs are out, you can take it to O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whoever has disc resurfacer and they'll do it, but honestly they're pretty expensive and you can probably get it for half that price if you go to your nearest machine shop. And they do either as good or better of a job at a machine shop. Once you've gotten your disc back, you should see it's really clean. Try not to dirty it with your grease-filled fingers. Try not to touch the shiny part anymore. So let's go ahead and put this back on the car. While you have the bracket out, what you're going to want to do is remove the guide pins. So just give them a good tug, and you'll see this is kind of old grease, so it's time to replace it. So we'll try and clean it up a little bit. Get a screwdriver and clean it up. Go ahead and get the pin. And apply grease, caliper grease. Just push the clip back in, squeeze it in, and once it's in, you're good to go. You do the same thing to the other side. Now that the guide pins are newly greased, you can go ahead and put them back on the vehicle. Now that the brackets are on, you're going to want to take off the old shims here without scratching the disc. And put in the new ones. Now we can put the brake pads on. Once you've got the brake pads on, go ahead and apply a medium amount of grease to the back of the pad. Just got a video of me just straight up being clumsy. Like I started the video, that's all it was me being clumsy. I
I swear I've used tools before.